All right, what's up, everybody? Told you we'd be back to finish up this UFC 277 breakdown, and I'd never lie to you guys unless I was, you know, no, I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't lie to you. You can trust your boy. We're going. It's episode 98 of the Beefy Boys breakdown. My partner Harrison will be joining me shortly. Stacked main card. I mean, especially I hate to be this guy, but especially if you're a hardcore, like these names. I mean, no style benders, no Volkanovskis on this card, but big names, people with big fan bases. Harris, I'm gonna grab a lighter real quick before we get started. Hell
Got it.
yeah, hell yeah! No technical difficulties this time around. And yeah, man, episode 98 of the Beefy Boys breakdown, recapping UFC 277. We did the early prelims and the prelims earlier in the day. If you haven't watched those yet, go check them out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. That really helps us out. Like a few videos, watch a few videos. We appreciate all our YouTube subscribers. And if you subscribe and leave a comment of your social media you can win a free Nate Diaz trading card. And yeah, man, I was just saying, like, really impactful fights for the division on this main card. You could argue maybe some future champs on the main card. Yeah, just really
Oh yeah.
interesting. Like,
I would
like there
definitely
was
say some future champs.
there was something on all of these fights. You know what I'm saying? Like there was none of these fights were just kind of like random matchups or like these were all like, if not number one contender matches, then like the fight before the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like I think there was a lot of like quarterfinals matches.
Something like that, man. I mean, I feel like, the very first fight essentially could be it's not going to be for who fights for the belt next because Yuri has already said that he's going to fight Glover again. But I think the winner of this first fight, I'm okay with that. It's such a great fight.
For it. That's the fight I want to see. Like you could
Yeah,
argue
me too.
the first fight was like the best fight in the light heavyweight history. So I mean, everybody's kind of acting like, oh, I don't know. I haven't really seen many people acting stoked for the Yuri Glover rematch or saying he needs to take on one of these new guys. Or there's a lot of opinion, or Jan Blachowicz kind of got skipped over. Like, hey, for a reason. Like, A, Glover's a legend. B, Glover was a nut hair away from winning that fight. I mean, it was one of the best fights I've ever watched. Like, I don't know why people aren't more stoked for that rematch. I mean, I think it fits all the things that UFC fans claim to like love and care about. That fight checks those boxes, and nobody seems to really want it. I don't know. I'm stoked for it though. So
I think it has to do. I think it has to do with a lot of Glover hate, to be quite honest.
Okay.
But yeah, man. I mean, let's not take away from the guys that are fighting. It's Magomed Ankalaev at number 4, who's minus 600, fighting Anthony Smith, who's number 5 at plus 450. I mean, the odds are just wild on this 205 fight. Jacob Montalvo is the ref, so I already was like, oh fuck, here we go. Like, if it does go to a wrestling affair, he's just going to stand him right back up, which already was working against our. We loved this fight going to decision.
Yeah, we loved the over. We bet the over because if you weren't going to get any value betting, Ankalaev, and we pretty much knew Smith wasn't going to win. So I mean, we were just trying to find some value there. And what do we end up with? Minus 165 on the over, which we'll get
Great
to
value.
whether or not that hits. But I don't know regrets, as they say. I think
that
had value. That bet made a lot of sense.
That's when I would go back and rebet it. You know what I mean? Like, even after having watched it. Because I think what we get to is a freak accident. But before that, we do have a first round that is pretty close. It's only close because it was lack of activity, which as the bettor watching it, I was like, oh, this is so great. This is exactly what I need. I need this to get over 2.5. This is slow and shitty and leg kick city. This is where I need to be. And as it turns out, those leg kicks would be a problem.
Yeah, I know. First round was like a snoozer, but like it's one of those things, hindsight 2020, it actually ends up being like really like meaningful and like, stuff that went down in the first round impact how this fight ends. So, I guess it wasn't all for naught. But yeah, it was snoozy, especially like if it was gonna be snoozy, I wanted it to be snoozy with Ankalaev on top. You know what I mean? And maybe like Smith throwing up submissions from the bottom. Like that's kind of how I pictured this fight taking place in my head. First round took place all on the feet though, which got to think maybe favored. Anthony Smith couldn't have been too mad about that stylistically wise. Probably about as much as he could hope for, right? Not have that big motherfucker on top of him.
It's weird. I went back and watched Thiago Santos fight with Ankalaev, and he hardly went. He does not go for takedowns as much. I think I have him pinned too much as a wrestler when he really isn't.
Yeah, true. I mean, goddamn it, the Abe Lincoln beard fools you every time.
It's
But
the Dagestan, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like because he's from Dagestan that he's a great wrestler, and he most likely is actually a great wrestler, but he really doesn't employ it too much. He fights like a super, super balanced style.
well, and also, DC mentioned it. I never really considered this. So
Different
apparently,
gym.
in Makachala, like the small guys train at one gym and the big guys train at another gym. So
Makacha.
I
Just JLP in his way to it.
King T'Challa, you know what I'm saying?
Oh my god. That was great. But yeah, I never thought about that either. Of course the smaller guys are going to train with smaller guys and the bigger guys are going to train with bigger guys. That only makes sense. But funny enough, he was like, yeah, it's just like 3 gyms on the same street in one like localized area.
It's really wild, man. It really is. How many athletes they produce? I mean, it's just like all those those high schools in Florida, like like Lamar and like every
like Hollywood, Florida, or like anywhere pretty much right outside of Miami. Like it seems like all those Miami kids are so good at football.
No doubt, man. But yeah, man. So I mean, listen, round 1 pretty snoozy, little like pitter patter bullshit. Shout out to my friend Niji who was watching the card with us last night, and yeah, just pitter patter bullshit, as she would say. She was kind of clowning them, especially big, scary light heavyweights. Now, I think it made all the sense in the world. Like, Ankalaev, he doesn't push a crazy pace. Not the most action-packed fighter. Smith, he's a veteran. He's had a lot of experience. He probably wanted to get Ankalaev into deep water. So, neither guy was really incentivized to, go out there and just sprint. You know what I mean? Which is why we bet the over.
Exactly, and the stakes of the fight, essentially the winner here gets to fight Jan Blachowicz for that title shot. So you're essentially, like you said, I mean, quarterfinals, right? Because then you get the semis if you win, and whoever gets the win in there plays for the finals, which in this case is a belt. So Ankalaev, it didn't really do much to win this fight. It was more so that Anthony Smith broke his leg on a kick that I guess Ankalaev checked. And it's really not broken, I don't think, either.
That's the debate. It was really weird. And I don't always bring up Chill, but it really was a good point that I wouldn't have otherwise thought of. Chill said this reminded him a lot of whenever, Joe Rogan just told everybody that Covington's jaw was broken when I don't think it was broken, and everybody just kind of rolled with the narrative that his jaw was broken. Like, Joe Rogan just fires off that Smith's leg's broken, and everybody just kind of accepted it as gospel. And I don't think his leg was broken. I mean, he's definitely injured. I don't know. Maybe it was a rolled ankle. I don't know. How did that final sequence go? Honestly, it kind of escapes me. I was very hammered.
So essentially, Smith is trying to clinch, and I'm like, yeah, once again, the better in me, I'm like, yes, clinch, do this. This is where Ankalaev wants to be. And then Smith kind of shoots a takedown, but not really, and then falls backwards, kind of onto his butt, but is holding Ankalaev
that's
trying
right.
to pull him down. And Ankalaev is not playing the game. He's literally standing there, just straight back, I'm not going down with you. I'm not going down with you. Eventually gets him pinned to the cage, starts just hammering down on him, and it's Anthony Smith just shells up, and then is saying that his leg is broken. Well, I'm reading right here. That the only one that's going in for surgery after their fights is Juliana Pena. Anthony Smith did not break anything.
Yeah, I know. And it just, like I said, I thought that was really honestly irresponsible of Joe Rogan just to say that he broke his leg. You could say hurt his leg. You could say, it looks bad. It looks serious. Hope it's not broken. But you can't just say, it is broken. Whenever, there's no, I mean, hell, I've broken bones. I think you've broken bones. You get an x-ray. That's what I mean. Yeah,
literally,
you got it.
I can't even move my pinky still a week later. You know what I'm saying? We know it's broken.
Yeah, you get an X-ray, and I mean that's usually the next day, or at the very least, a couple hours after the fight. He hadn't even showered yet, and Dr. Joe Rogan fucking just diagnoses him with a broken leg. Or I don't know if somebody said that in his ear, or I literally don't know where that came from. It's kind of frustrating. You can't just. Well,
it's weird. Because it comes from Smith. Because Smith told his team when he couldn't stand up, he said, "My leg's broken. My leg's broken." Well, Joe's standing in the octagon so he can hear it. That's why he's coming back and he's saying, "I'm pretty sure he has a fractured leg." He said he couldn't walk. He's saying it's broken. He's just parroting what the fighter's saying. But once again, slightly irresponsible in the sense of Anthony Smith has no fucking idea what the inside of his body looks like.
No, and it wasn't like an obvious one like a McGregor or a Weidman. Like, I mean, obviously those ones we all saw it. Like, but yeah, I mean, it was just a really weird fight, a really weird ending. How long did that second round last? I didn't get that written down.
So it ends officially at 3:09 of round 2.
309 goes down as a TKO for Ankalaev. I guess the only reason why this one just doesn't feel as weird, A, the fight was pretty snoozy. B, I think the guy we all thought was going to win won. It doesn't have that Aspinall Blades feel. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we had a completed round. I don't know. Like, obviously, it wasn't a
you know what feel it has
ending.
to. You know what feel it has to me is Anthony Smith always has some sort of injury or he just can't keep his fucking body working in a fight.
Well, I mean, he's only like 34, 35 years old. Not crazy old, but he's been in 50 fights. So, I mean, the damage that his body's been through. I mean, 50 fights, 50 training camps, 50 weight cuts. I mean, God fucking damn.
Like, I'd be willing to put serious money on the fact that he'll never get to another title shot because he'll just never be able to get through the tough guys.
Yeah, and I mean, definitely the clock's working against him. He has the analyst gig, which, like, let's be real. Like, we can sit here and act like the trend isn't happening. Maybe Dominic Cruz is the only guy kind of bucking the trend so far. Like, when you get that analyst job, happened to Felder, happened to Angie Overkill.
Chiesa.
I guess Chiesa's still rolling, but Joe Ban, like, the end is near. And, like, I think when a fighter knows he has other options, it's just fight or flight, right? Like,
when you start getting checks for not getting beat up or not having to risk getting beat up and you're still getting checks, it's like, well, why do I even do that shit anymore? Why don't I just keep getting paid?
Yeah, and obviously Smith's answer to that was in pursuit of the title, and God bless him. You know what I'm saying? As far as the guy's belief in himself, the guy did a great job campaigning and trying to convince everybody that this was a number one contender fight. Like, that narrative came from him. That narrative didn't come from Okamoto or one of these guys like that. Like, Smith built his own narrative. He really kind of steered his own career, and I do appreciate that. He played the opportunity, really well. But, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, he gets hurt. Ankalaev wins. I mean, that's 18-1 for Ankalaev. So I think Ankalaev, because he doesn't get in the most exciting fights and all that.
It's 9 in a row for him, too, in light heavyweight in the UFC.
Yeah. No, I think he's undefeated in the UFC.
But I'm saying 9-0 is special because it's the second longest winning streak in light heavyweight history.
He lost to Paul Craig, I thought.
Yeah, his very first fight in the UFC.
Oh, okay, and then he's won every fight since.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I mean, the guy's a beast, but he said not very fan-friendly. I mean, doesn't really do a lot to market himself, to promote himself. I mean, I think there's a reason why, like, everybody's kind of lukewarm on him. You know what I mean? It's kind
also his face is like in a hole about this big on the center of his head. It's pretty crazy, man.
He definitely looks like a bad guy from a James Bond movie.
Yes.
Now, like I said, and I think he has all like the things working against him that like an Islam Makhachev has working against him, but Islam has Khabib and DC as mouthpieces, and Ankalaev doesn't have that. Like, imagine if Islam didn't have Khabib and DC tweeting for him and talking about him on podcasts. Like, I don't know. And Ankalaev's not doing anything himself to like make us care, make us like him.
And he's just not the flashiest when he is out there, right? Like,
yeah,
he really doesn't do anything super flashy. He's just so very well rounded at like every single thing.
Hey, I gotta say though, Blachowicz Ankalaev, I think could be a really good fight.
Like, yes, that gets a lot more fun. Because that's like Yuri Ankalaev.
Yeah, because like Blachowicz, obviously, I think the wrestling kind of neutralizes. He's a damn good wrestler himself. Good in the clinch, all those positions that Ankalaev likes. I think Jan Blachowicz will be just fine there. Now, Jan Blachowicz will be substantially older than him. He's getting real close to 40 if he's not there already. And but I mean, I'm saying if he's able to keep it on the feet, I think it's not even a leap to say Blachowicz probably has better striking, definitely better boxing. Ankalaev has some decent kicks. I mean, he could definitely catch Ankalaev with something. I mean,
I'd be interested to see if Ankalaev would just press him to the fence and try and clinch strike with him. Because I think Ankalaev has much better clinch striking.
Yes, you're right, man. But I mean, honestly, that's about all I got. I mean,
yeah, no, I actually have one funny question before we leave the 205 division. I was watching an interview with Usman from Thursday, and he was talking about how he thinks he can go fight light heavyweight, and he was like, I don't think I can run that division. He was like, I just think the top one, maybe 2, 3 guys I can beat, and I have a lot of good matchups. Well, the top 3 guys would be Glover, Jan, and Yuri, and I don't think Usman sees the light of day through those 3 guys.
So, you know what? That was my knee-jerk reaction. I watched the same interview. Shout out Pat McAfee's show. But, like, it was cool how he dove second level into it. Because Usman was saying, no, do I think I can hit harder than these guys? No. Do I think I can necessarily take them down as easy as I take down 70-pounders? No. But he was saying that, like, and this is where I can't disagree with him, and it's really cool that he was honest enough to kind of let us in on the psychology. He said he's definitely going to have the speed advantage, and he's definitely going to have the cardio advantage over all those guys, which is true. And there is a path to victory there. No, I think it's a bad job of promotion because you're pretty much telling us you're trying to snooze around for 5 rounds and get them tired.
Yeah, but also, like, his reach is going to be so short compared to theirs. His height's so short. His leg reach is going to be little. I mean, compared to those 3 guys.
Hear me out, though. Think about just like a jack DC, like a not fat DC. That would essentially be what it looks like, right? The rest
kind of, yeah. But right now he walks around at 190. You know what I'm saying? So he was saying he'd try to like pack muscle up to like 200, 205 and just not cut at all.
Yeah, 2 burgers a week, he'll be at 205.
But I wonder about, like, a guy like Yuri with the unconventional striking. I don't think Usman can dodge those shots. Like, he's going to get clipped with one, and if he gets clipped with one, I don't think he survives.
Well, so yeah, hear me out. You're right, man. I think there are guys. Like, I think Usman Blachowicz maybe is a good fight.
That's a good one. I think Glover gives Usman trouble because it's like a bigger Gilbert Burns.
Well, if you're saying, okay, your real strategy is to make a guy go 5 rounds, well, Glover goes 5 rounds all the time. Like, you know what I'm saying?
He loves that shit. He eats that shit up.
So it's hard for me to.
And Yuri's cardio is not bad either.
Well, in Yuri, I think the size is just like a real thing.
Yeah.
Yuri's 6'6". I mean, it's like a white John Jones. Like, I mean, he's fucking. I mean,
literally, he's like a white John Jones, and so creative with the strikes, man. So creative.
A la John Jones. Like, seriously, it reminds me a lot of John Jones. I mean, not the wrestling of Jones, but yeah, I mean, the striking very like on the feet, which also path to victory. I think Usman could probably take Yuri down. I mean, maybe if he does, I mean, that would be his path to victory.
But I agree with you, but Glover did it too. But Yuri will just give you his back and stand up. He's a psychopath. He's so weird.
And Usman's not the most like submission heavy guy. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to give your back to anybody, I mean, it might be Usman. No, I feel you. It's tough. I honestly wish, and I get it, the code, the whatever. Him and Adesanya is the fight. Now, they talk over and over and over how that won't happen, and they're brothers, and part of me really likes it.
It'd be great if Hamzat just beat them both, just took both their belts.
that
would be saucy.
Could happen.
Could happen.
Definitely happen. Like, I'm not ruling that out.
Hell, Shavkat maybe could do it too. I don't. Rakhmonov is. I'm getting more and more hype on him. The more I look back on his performances, they're just so impressive.
The whole new wave of welterweight. It's hard to sleep on Sean Brady. Like, it's hard not to throw Sean Brady's name in that group of guys. Like, he's been now less popular, less talked about, less flashy, you could say, but just as dominant as those two. Sean Brady, we watched.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like Sean Brady a lot. I just don't know, like, I watch Sean Brady, I feel like his skill set isn't as wide as those other 2 guys we were just talking about. No, granted, he might be super, super, super sharp in the wrestling department. Like, maybe even more so than those guys with, like, traditional wrestling.
I think he's, like, physically stronger than all those guys.
Yeah, he's so big. He's so big.
He's a gorilla.
He should be an 85er. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane he makes 70.
It really is. He's so thick. But, yeah, man, I mean, great. I'm glad you brought up the Usman situation. And I kind of honestly agree with Usman. Usman was saying, like, there are some matchups at 205 he could win. He can't beat every 205. I thought he was really honest and candid in that interview. I really appreciate it because, I mean, usually, when you hear a guy talking about double champ status, he's like, I'm the GOAT. I'll run through everybody. Like, we've heard those same interviews. I mean, we've heard them from Cejudo. We've heard them from, Volkanovski. We've heard them from Oliveira. We've heard them from, I mean, when Izzy was talking about, or when Izzy did go up to 205, like before he fought Blachowicz, he was talking like that. So I thought it was just like a different kind. No, I don't think Usman did himself any favors, like promotion-wise, or like getting people excited for that 205. You know what I mean?
Usman's a goober with promotion, dude. He's so bad at promoting himself.
He's just so like undeniable, at least at welterweight.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is like you can't deny how great he is at fighting. He's just like so cringy on a mic, man. Like, what's up with the wrestlers being so bad on the microphone? Like, chill, give these guys classes.
Yeah, you're right, man. Well, he's even cringy. Like he does like the Eagle FC like pre-fight show with Chael and Habib, and he's pretty awful on the mic. He really is. He's awful. I think he does kind of bad in the Pat McAfee interviews. Like I really don't enjoy listening to Usman talk. Like I maybe more so than any champ. Like as much as I don't like Aljamain Sterling, like he's decent on like podcasts and stuff like that. Like
God, you're saying it so well, man. It's like just having a conversation with Usman, I think would like suck. Like if I just literally had a conversation with him, like I think it would suck.
Like we're hanging out with him or partying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we were just like hanging out, and I like saw him at a bar and was chopping it up with him. I think he would say some like try to be like inspiring and philosophical type bullshit, and I'm like, hey man, can't you just say that like, yeah, I punch really fucking hard and I'm faster than everyone, and just own that shit? Like, why does it gotta always be some like I'm hungry like a lion? These guys they don't have the hunger. Like, all right, man, fucking cool, but like, can we talk X's and O's, please?
That's a very good point. That's actually a really good impression. The head movement and everything. I fucked with that. But man, let's fucking keep it moving. How you doing? Keep it moving. Let's keep it because man, this next fight did not necessarily go how I saw it going. Now,
not at all what I thought was going to occur.
Like stylistically, like we ended
up. Oh yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
But like,
not exactly, not at all what I thought what it would be.
Yeah. No, so we got Alexandre Pantoja minus 190, fourth ranked flyweight. With wins over Cara France and Moreno, I think that's very important when you're telling the Pantoja story. When you're like, laying the foreground here. And then fighting Alex Perez, plus 160 underdog, coming in ranked number 6. Like I said, flyweight division, and like I said, man, I had a tough time picking this fight. Now, the more I dove into it, and the more we talked about it, we both ended up feeling pretty good about our pick. Like, but when I first looked at this on paper, I was like, this is coin flip city. Like, but fight ends up being very one-sided. Now, let's get to it because, I mean, both of these guys, and on our live reaction video, me and Niji last night, as soon as this fight started, we both, we stood up and started yelling like, holy shit, because we had just watched the snoozer. And then these guys both come out with their fucking assholes on fire.
Pantoja especially. Like, Perez is pushing pace. Pantoja's counter and to dip, or what am I trying to say? To duck under and then get the back and then jump to the standing body triangle,
like
that fast,
so fluid, yeah.
Like that
in the
fast.
middle of a firefight too. Like it wasn't like they were like grappling and clinching.
Yeah, like they dipped a punch and just slipped up on his back. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, the ability to go from, I mean, to mix the martial arts, right? Like, I mean, it's in the name of the sport. Like his ability to just flip. There's so many guys. It's like, all right, we're striking now. All right, we're clinching now. All right, we're wrestling now. You know what I'm saying? But like,
it's almost like DC. Like that was so insightful when DC was like, when you train these instances, these sequences, like you get comfortable and just seek them out in the fight because you've trained it like that. And it's like, when we said it earlier, whenever he said that as well, it's like, well, if you just go out and fight your fight and force your opponent to have to react to you, you're going to be a lot more comfortable than trying to sit and react to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's all sports, right? Like every coach in any sport will tell you, like, if you're thinking, you're losing. Like if you're, and I think a lot of these guys, they have studied so much techniques. They're doing so many different martial arts. They have 3 or 4 different coaches at a time. They're training with all these different guys that are giving them advice. Like I think there's like, with certain guys, there's like some paralysis by analysis, like some kind of, like I mean, like as a linebacker, like if you were thinking, you were, I mean, done. You were toast. The guard was on you. But you have to react, not think. I mean, that's all sports. That's basketball. That's baseball. I mean, if you're thinking, I mean, I can't think of a sport where thinking is like a good thing. Like maybe pre-snap, but like.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is like baseball, you might think the whole time, but once the pitch gets thrown, you just got to react.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like Pantoja, like what we're getting at here, short story long, is I mean that's what Pantoja was doing. He was fighting, he was reacting, he was fighting his fight, as you said. But yeah, he ducked under, got the back, and then it was crazy. That may be like the fastest neck crank submission because he wasn't under the chin, like he wasn't even close. Chin. It was straight up Habib Connor, like just
straight across the jawline, just cranked him. But even funnier to me, man, I had like this weird like thought whenever he was on his back in the body triangle. I was like, oh God, they're going to separate him.
I
because the
talked about
stand-ups
it.
were.
In my fight companion, I was like, "There's no way they can separate this," but I still like brought it up because like it was like in the back of my mind, you know. I'm just like, "Oh fuck," you know. But because you're right, like but it all happened so fast, you know.
Yeah, yeah. But like that quick, like, you know what I'm saying, snap reaction in my head whenever I saw it, I was just like laughing to myself inside, like, man, I could see Montalvo separating this position like in moron.
I literally brought it up. Yeah, I brought it up on the fight companion for sure.
So
Yeah,
happy.
like, yeah, but
So,
yeah, neck crank. Also, standing
Pantoja,
neck crank. Like that's what I'm saying. Like, what's your takeaway? I mean, I'm not one to call Alex Perez soft or anything like that, but I mean, he didn't like he. Correct me if I'm wrong. He tapped standing. Like, how often do you see
yeah.
that? It was a standing body triangle. A neck
Well, it wasn't
crank,
like he
not
was
a
going to
choke.
pass out. It was just like a pain
No,
thing. Like
I
his
know.
jaw was just getting crushed.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
man. And I mean,
Pantoja
I've
must have
never
a
been
pretty
in that
serious
position.
squeeze.
That's what I'm saying. The squeeze, and I mean, Perez is known as being a pretty tough guy, right? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it was weird. Like, it's hard to say he like quit, but it's also like I said, it's weird. Like, he didn't even fall to his knees, or like, I don't even think he really tried to defend it or fight the hands, or he literally just like got squeezed and tapped.
Yeah, I mean, because it was 131 of the first round.
Yeah,
So
and they
anyone that
had a
had
decent
over half a
striking.
round,
Yeah, good luck finding that prop,
or under
but
half a round, I should say.
but yeah. So we both picked Pantoja. That cashes. I mean, that was a really exciting fight. Like, I think Pantoja got a bonus for that. Well
Yeah,
deserved.
he got
Well
50 grand
deserved.
for it.
And also, man, like if you're trying to convince everybody, like, hey, you'd rather watch me. Now, granted, like I said, the interim belt makes it tough because like the winner of
Well,
Moreno Cara France has to fight Figueiredo. Like it's kind of like it's the only time
yeah,
it's the only time in MMA where there's a competitive architecture, at least in the UFC. Like the interim belt is literally a semifinals match. Like it's
so I see two pathways for Pantoja from here, right? It's Leon Edwards, number one bullshit guy, sit and wait because, I mean, eventually these other two guys in front of you, like, or the three rather, Davis and Figueiredo, Moreno and Cara France, like, they're going to just burn each other's wicks out and you're just going to be there waiting. So, like, he could just take that 1 year route and wait. But I think the smarter thing is he should have called out the loser of the interim title fight.
yeah.
Like
But
he should have said,
takes
I know the winner has to go fight Figueiredo. I want to fight the other guy to like essentially solidify me as the next guy in.
skip his place in line. I feel you. If you got to think about it though, that's a big risk, kind of low reward. Like I don't know. I guess I don't know. You're right. I rarely I would advocate for a guy to sit and wait, but I think this time, I think it makes sense for Pantoja.
It's so weird though, right? Because like
Cause,
I don't like saying that either, but it does. It's the smartest thing he could do currently.
Because like if he was to fight the loser of Cara France and Moreno, that's a really tough night out. He's already beaten both of them, so it's going to be a rematch in a fight that he won. And like,
Right.
There's not really much to gain. I mean, you can't say there's nothing to gain because it's a number one contenders fight, but it's very risky, you know. Now, if he's the kind of guy that wants a paycheck, then sure, it makes sense. But from like a competitive architecture, from like a pursuit of the belt, no, like Yair saying he wants to wait, hell no. Like Yair, there's Emmett, there's Allen, there's so many guys Yair could fight, but in this division, in this particular scenario with the quadrilogy match, like potentially looming, it's like I don't know, man. I kind of feel for Pantoja. Like he's kind of in a tough spot.
You know, I mean, he has a loss to Askar Askarov July 18th of 2020. So
He could try to get that one back.
I could see him getting that one back to just pretty much clear it up and be like, look, only guys in front of me are the two fighting for the belt. So what are we going to do about it? You know what I mean?
At that point, he would have beaten the top like four guys, I think.
And I feel like Askarov or versus like the loser of Cara France Moreno, I think Askarov's the easier out between those three options.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
But also, like we just said, maybe he just sits and waits and makes Askarov try to call out the loser of that fight, and he just waits.
And also, like, it would be better if Askarov was a more popular fighter. Like, talk about
right.
Nobody gives a fuck.
No name value whatsoever.
Are you even gonna be on the main card? Like, maybe a fight night. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're probably not even the co-main. Like, it's just like it's tough, man. It's tough. But I mean, it's about all I got on Pantoja, man. I mean, look, phenomenal. I mean, just ran through Alex Perez. I mean, just really, really great performance.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I think we can keep it pushing because this next fight has a lot of controversy. I went back and rewatched it, and I agree with you entirely. I was just tripping earlier. I don't know what I was thinking when I said this was not an early stoppage or was close to not an early stoppage. It was a very early stoppage. It was one of the worst stoppages I've seen in a long time.
Okay. Okay. He's coming over, guys. He's coming
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
I thought he was getting soft on us.
I don't know what I was watching last night. But it's number 11, Sergey Pavlovich, however you say it, plus one or minus 150 against Derek Lewis, who's number 6, plus 130. Lewis on a tough run. I will say this: when we broke this fight down, Lewis does not he hates this sport, bro. You can just tell.
Yeah. I bet against Lewis really didn't have anything to do with the X's and O's. Granted, I do think Pavlovich is a more rounded mixed martial artist, but
Pavlovich is crazy big too. Like Kenny kept just yelling "Big White" at the screen when he was watching him walk in. I was like, that dude's huge.
Very big, to make Derek Lewis look kind of small.
Yeah.
But like I said, the reason why I bet Pavlovich didn't really have to do with X's and O's, punches and kicks. It had to do with Derek Lewis's commitment to the sport, Derek Lewis's motivation level in the sport, Derek Lewis, not how much left is in the tank physically, how much is in the tank mentally and whatever the hunger tank, whatever the motivation tank. You know what I'm saying? He's pretty much openly said that he's doing it for money. He's pretty much openly said that he really doesn't want to fight for a title because he doesn't want a 5-round fight. He doesn't really care about it, and he's just cashing checks. And Pavlovich is the definition of a young lion, right? I mean, the definition of hitting his stride. This is by far the biggest fight of his career. Highest up on the card, I'm pretty sure he's been in his career. Maybe the first time he's been on a pay-per-view main card. I mean, this was the crossroads, for Pavlovich. And I just think the give a fuck meter, just from the outside looking in, had to be way higher for Pavlovich. That's why I bet him. It wasn't really an X's and O's bet. It was
I'm fully with you. And he's 30. Derek Lewis is, I don't know, 35, 36, I believe. Yeah. So he's kind of getting up there. He's been there. He's done that. Pavlovich only lost in the UFC in his entire career was his debut fight in the UFC, which was against against Alistair Overeem in 2018.
Yeah, Overeem had something left in the tank
still some juice there, on that Overeem. And then, he's beaten Mo Green, Shamil Abdurakhimov, and now Derek Lewis. He's going to jump up to 6 or 7 if we're looking at who's next for him in the heavyweight division. I think it's only fun fights, man.
Because well, hold on. Let's get to this actual fight a little bit. There's only 55 seconds of the fight, so there's not too much to get to. But
I forgot we didn't even just describe what happened.
Yeah, the thing is that's crazy. Him and Derek Lewis were trading, and I did not see that really approach for Pavlovich. I thought he was going to try to clinch it up, take it down, be more well-rounded, maybe wear the cardio out, but they were pretty much banging it out, which you think favors Lewis, but Pavlovich was hurting him.
Well, his head movement was great. He barely got hit. He only got hit 4 times officially. Wow. Yeah. Wow. So it was one of those things where Lewis was trying to trade, and I think he ate 1 or 2 hard shots, and it did. Derek Lewis does not usually go backwards like that, like he was.
Well, didn't he kind of turn his head and run away?
Yeah, he started to turn from one of the shots that clicked, and then he starts to back up, and then he's still getting hit, and then he tries to throw back, and then he keeps getting hit, and then he falls down to his knees, and he's been tagged probably 4 solid connections at that point. The problem for me when I watch it is it's an early stoppage because Mark Smith runs in before Pavlovich even lands 1 shot to Derek Lewis when he's down. I need to see Derek Lewis not be able to defend on the ground because he stood up immediately when Mark Smith was calling it.
It's right. Boxing. It was kind
of even in boxing, you would give him a 10 count right there. You know what I mean? That was way too early of a stoppage. I would rather see a guy like Derek Lewis go out on a shield than not.
Well, and also, this is also it factors right into my immediate kind of breakdown and prediction of Derek Lewis. Just as soon as he faced a little bit of controversy, I thought he was get me the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? As soon as he started getting tagged, he turned around and kind of ran away. The body language was horrible. I don't once again, like I said, I think that the stoppage was more from Derek Lewis just didn't look like he wanted to be there. He wasn't really fighting back. He Derek Lewis looked like he wanted to be anywhere but there, right there.
The body language of it was so wild, man. And I think that's what Mark Smith was seeing live in person was that like Derek Lewis just kind of shelling away from shots and not really returning anything and fighting back.
Or really any semblance of defense either. Like, he wasn't trying to grab a leg. He wasn't.
To be quite honest, man, terrible performance for Derek Lewis. I would not mind seeing him just go ahead and hang it up.
Yeah,
what more has he got to prove? Who else is he going to fight except for young, hungry killers?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is going to keep happening. I mean, every 3 fights he may knock somebody out just because, he may catch somebody. But, I mean, yeah, are we trying to see him enter, like, the Andre Arlovsky stage of his career? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, like, I don't love that for a guy like those. For those
I don't
guys
love
like that.
it. I mean, it is. He's made a good amount of money. He's one of the higher paid guys in the division. He's made some money.
But he also has shown an inability to grow, for the most part. At least at a level that he needed to be a champion.
Now he is super marketable. He is super good on the mic. He has a really big fan base. He's sold out arenas. I think the UFC is gonna I don't think they would cut him, but and if Derek Lewis. I mean, did you hear anything from him post fight? I think they just pretty much got him the hell up out of there. Maybe put him.
That's what I mean. I mean, maybe he might have told them I ain't doing no media. I don't even want to be here, and just bro, he was in his home state of Texas.
Yeah, so I would love to hear from Derek Lewis, what he's thinking, how he's feeling. Is he done? Maybe these are all things that he's mulling over and thinking and considering. But yeah,
that's what that's what I see from him is just kind of that overall I don't want to be here anymore type of reaction.
Here's where I'm at with Derek Lewis. I love Derek Lewis fight week. I hate Derek Lewis fights. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's still great on the mic. He still is great with the one-liners, the interviews. It's great. It's a lot of fun. It really is. But, if the bill starts and he just doesn't really want to be there and he's just fighting these young guys.
He's just collecting a check, bro. It's, you know what I'm saying? That's not really what I want to see from a fighter.
Yeah, and it's are there guys in the division he could beat? Yeah, sure, but none of the meaningful ones. Honestly, imagine what Tom Aspinall does to him.
Bro, I would even say at this point, Chris Dawkins and Derek Lewis might have.
Remember?
Yeah, I don't know Lewis beat him, but I'm just saying,
Derek. That was really the last time we saw Derek Lewis look good.
This is his last win. He's 0-3 in his last 3 fights.
I didn't know it was 3. I thought it was 2. Who was before Tuivasa? Who else beat him? I know it was Tuivasa, and now this is 2 knockouts in a row.
Yeah, that's also tough. Although this one obviously wasn't near as bad as the Tuivasa one.
No, the Tuivasa.
Oh no, I'm sorry. He beat Dawkins but then lost to Gane before that.
Oh, I forgot about Gane. Yeah.
And then had the he was on a nice little win streak before that.
Yeah, before that he was on a heater. Knocked out Blades, right?
Yeah, knocked out Blades, beat Ivanov by split decision, beat Ilir Latifi decision, KO'd Alexei Oleinik, which that one's not worth anything to me.
Or the Latifi one's not worth much to me either at this point.
The Ivanov one's not great. A split over number 15 and you're number 5 or 6. That doesn't look great.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He's fought so many UFC fights. He was damn near 20 fights in the UFC. It's been fighting for him since 2014, which I didn't even realize.
That's what I'm saying. I really hope he's been smart with his money. You know what I mean? I really hope he's invested because, I wouldn't mind seeing him hang it up. And I know he's doing it for a check. I hope he's not at a point where he needs the checks,
Well, yeah, I don't know how he could because he's always talked about how he only wants to do it for money. And I know that we've seen his payouts before, at least whenever he fought Gane. I believe he got $600,000 or something like that.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I think he's on a 500 and 500 or something. He has a good contract. He's one of the higher paid guys. So I would hope he's all right. But all right. So we pretty much spent 10 minutes shitting on Derek Lewis. What do you want next for Pavlovich?
So I have interesting ways we could go about this from what I'm looking at, right? Volkov would make a lot of sense. I don't know if they want to put the 2 Russians against each other, but it makes all the sense on earth. But also,
what's Volkov at right now? 7?
7. So that's what I'm saying. Prove you're number 6. Because I don't think he just gets to jump to the top 5.
What was Lewis? 6 or 5?
Well, they had him as. Did they not have him as 6 when they introduced him?
I think 6. I think you're
Right,
right. Yeah.
but on the site it says 5. That's why I was like, I don't know.
Honestly, my handwriting just sucks, and I was drunk when I wrote it. I can't tell if it's a 6 or a 5. But all right, so right in. All right, but you don't believe he takes Derek Lewis's spot? You don't think beating 5 gets you to 5? I mean,
Yeah,
why not?
but
I mean,
okay, but yes, I agree with you. But like you're looking at the ladder as climbing just straight up, right? But how's he going to do that when it's Tuivasa, Stipe, Curtis Blades, and Gone? All those guys are proven. They're in a tier where they're fighting for this belt, and it's amongst those guys to settle themselves out. Pavlovich isn't in the conversation yet. He's still got another win.
you're right. You're right. But what if that win, or what if he fights the loser of Tuivasa Gone, or I mean, Stipe still needs a fight. Ngannou's out. I mean, there's Curtis Blades said he's not really trying to fight anybody down, but it may not be up to him.
I don't think Blades will take that. There's no way he won't sign that contract. There's no way.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. He's been pretty vocal about that.
I just feel like
You're
those
right.
top 4 have gotten enough wins in a row over super tough guys. Where like,
All right, but hear me out. What if we can both have our cake and eat it too? Like you put him at 5, but then he fights number 8, or you know what I'm saying?
no, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think he needs to fight backwards now whenever he gets elevated.
Yeah,
That's all
okay.
I'm saying is like
Okay.
he needs to fight like Rosenstruik or Volkov is essentially the only 2 I think that make sense here. And Volkov makes way more sense.
Yeah, and I mean, it is a step backwards, but he is still like, I guess he's not that young. I don't know, man. It's tough for me to, but I mean, Hamzat's doing it. Hamzat went from Gilbert Burns to Nate Diaz, so I guess he can do it.
Here's what I think would sell really well too is Volkov, Pavlovich fight night, UFC fight night, and let them headline a 5-round fight.
Get Pavlovich a main event.
And get him a 5-rounder, yeah, exactly. Because
Yeah.
like I don't think cardio is going to be an issue for him, but we know it's not for Volkov. So let's see.
You know what? I don't hate that. It's like it makes all the sense in the world, but is that a fight I want to watch? And like, no. Do I want to spend a Saturday night watching Volkov Pavlovich fight night? But I mean, you know what I'm saying? So
I know it's tough.
And you're not wrong. You're not.
But
wrong.
like the problem with Rosenstruik too is like, well, he just beat Derek Lewis. That's essentially the same guy. You know what I mean? So I don't want to see that fight. I'd rather see him fight a stylistically tougher, different test now.
You're right. I don't hate that. All right. But yeah, man, let's keep it moving. I mean, we have the interim flyweight title up next. And Brandon Moreno, number 1 ranked flyweight, minus 205 favorite, fighting Kai Kara France, number 2 ranked flyweight, plus 175 dog. We were riding Kara France hard all week. We loved the Kara France bet. A lot of other people did. I was talking to this guy at the sports book who works at a different sports book, and he said a guy came in and put 1,500 on Kara France.
Have you seen the judges' scorecards for this fight, by the way?
No, I have not. So I can't wait.
Oh, we're definitely going round by round. This is insanity.
Yeah. Let's go round by round because I guess I'll lead off. I had round 1 to Kai Kara. The forward pressure. I thought he was landing the bigger bombs, which, you know, is how I thought round 1 looked kind of how we thought this fight was going to look. You know what I mean?
Me too.
Like, I was feeling pretty good.
I had Kara France winning round 1. I thought it was close. I just thought he was doing more damage. I thought he was landing the bigger shots, which was very similar to their first fight.
Is that the round where he cut Moreno under the eye?
No, that was round 2.
Okay.
But that just goes to show, like, the bombs that, like, I think Moreno was outscoring him. Oh, by the way, I do have this takeaway. I hate Brandon Moreno after this fight. Can't stand watching him fight. This shit, I hate that shit. I hope someone cleans his fucking clock.
Well, yeah. Wow. Okay, coming in hot there.
I don't know why I felt like that, but I was just watching and I was like, man, Kai Kara France is doing all this like work, and Brandon Moreno is just like, he just looks like a Billy Bob Dick out there. I don't know, man.
Well, he switched camps. He's training with James Cross now. You know, he's not one of our coaches. So yeah, you didn't know that.
I hate him so much.
I knew that was going to add fuel to that fire. We're not really a pro Cross.
Let's go. God of War Figueiredo, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, you know, it's so
in that
weird
quadrilogy, whenever, because that will happen eventually someday, no matter what, right? Did not spoil the outcome of this fight. I'm sure those guys will fight their 4th fight at some point. I'm Team Davison forever.
Yeah, I think you're. Well, I mean, I was Team Kara France in this one. I mean, I like Kara.
Yeah,
France.
me too.
he brings like some youth to the division, some hunger, which I
So
think he brings a lot of what this division needed. This division has a lot of older fighters, a lot of guys with similar styles. Kai Francis is just a different dude in the division. I still do think.
So check this out, man. The judges on this fight are Sal D'Amato, Douglas Crosby, who very, very typical. They've scored a lot of title fights. So their cards I'm going to trust. Jacob Montalvo, the ref, was the other judge for this fight.
Wow.
So he scored the first round of Moreno. Doug Crosby scored the first round of Cara France, and Sal D'Amato scored the first round of Moreno. So close round, illustrated by the judges
that was
there.
Very close.
And the Vegas judges split it, which, I'm like, okay, cool, that's good to see. Now, going into round 2, I did think that Moreno was starting to pick up on the numbers, at least, right? Like the significant strike numbers. Now, once again, I have another close round here, but I didn't know if Cara France's damage, granted that cut was huge. I had a hard time scoring it for Cara France, though, because I thought Moreno was getting off a good amount of his own damage, too.
Oh, I scored round 2 for Moreno, man. That standing elbow was jumped off the screen to me. It was probably the most impactful strike of the round. You could argue the most impactful, strike of the fight.
Damn near.
And I think it was the first time we saw Cara France like not waver, but like he didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? And like up to that point, Cara France had just looked like a G. The whole time, like wasn't like unfazed, confident as hell. When he ate that elbow, there was a little shift. I don't know if you want to call it body language, vibe, energy, but I don't know if you felt the same way. I thought.
So here's why I was. So I'm happy that we're on the same page here, right? Because Montalvo scores that round for Cara France, but not the first.
Like, is this guy just rolling dice and flipping coins, or
this guy can't ref? He can't score. Like, Texas needs to get rid of this idiot. Anyway, Doug Crosby, same judge scored the first round for Cara France, scored the second round for Cara France. So he had Cara France up 20-18. One judge had it 19-19. Sal D'Amato has Brandon Moreno up 20-18. So all three of the judges have different scorecards. This was a draw after 2 rounds, essentially. It was 1-1-1.
Which I think proves the 19-19 is the way to go, right? Like, that's like the median scorecard,
It feels right, but it's Montalvo's scorecard. Like, he saw the rounds backwards.
But yeah, he saw him backwards, though. That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's going to sound like obvious, it's like a weird thing to say, but like I like our scorecards. Like, of course, we like ours.
I think they make a lot more sense, though, especially what we're talking about here. But
yeah.
So we get into the third round, and I'm thinking we're going to get through it. I mean, we're at the 4-minute mark, and I mean, these guys are throwing. Big damage is starting to land on both guys. Like Moreno's eye is starting to look rough.
Yeah,
Cara France is getting cut up.
Yeah. No, it was a banger. I mean, this fight was awesome. It really was good. Great fight. And whenever I saw the bonuses in my head, I kind of questioned this because this does get fight of the night, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it does. Now, I thought Abdel Wahab had an argument with Mays for that.
Yeah, you're right. But, I mean,
I get it. I get the Dana Duffel, but, like, I just felt like for what Abdel Wahab endured and shit, and to come through in that fight and get the split decision win, and for it to be a split decision, and for Mays to have gotten rocked in the first and survived, I was like, well, man, these guys kind of put everything out there.
Each guy almost got finished. I feel you. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. And it went the distance, which it's rare that a fight of the night goes to a fight that doesn't go the distance, which, bum, bum, bum. And round 3, now when I was watching it live.
I thought it was a low blow.
I thought, okay.
I would have put all my money on it. I would have put it on there. I even have it in my notes. Wow, low blow wins the fight for Moreno. And then they show the replay, and I just scratched it out.
Bro, my notes are identical. I have uncalled dick shot with like exclamation point question mark, and then I'm just like, oh no, it was a liver. It was liver.
Yeah, pure liver shot. Hard liver shot. That was another
one. It was cool watching this fight with a Muay Thai fighter because she really started getting into like liver shots and how they feel and how gnarly it is. And we were talking about because she's a woman obviously, and so she's like, it's probably we had the conversation like it's probably like the closest a woman can come to like knowing what it feels like to get hit in the nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I'm sure.
Just like the internal kind of shutdown. So I mean, it was really weird. It was really weird how like watching it live, like you said it perfectly. I would have bet my left nut that it was a low blow. But then on the slow-mo replay, it was clear as day a beautiful liver shot. So
Yeah,
I mean, credit to Moreno. Nothing cheap about it at all. I mean, it was fair and square. I mean, Giga-esque. You know what I mean? It was. I mean,
So
it is wild to think that one judge had to call a France up two rounds to nothing. Though that's pretty wild to think about.
pretty well because I think he was winning the third too.
Ooh. You know what? I haven't given much thought to that. I was so caught up in the moment of like
In the finish, yeah, I know, but
yeah.
I was thinking about it. The reason I know the 4 minute thing is because like I wrote in my notes like very close with 1 minute to go, leaning KKF. So I know I was like leaning towards him, but
Yeah,
I think that eye was just the damage he kept hitting on that eye was just too nice, man.
Yeah, I mean, who's to say that doesn't get stopped going into the 5th round or something if he's getting, just keeps if that cut gets any worse. You got a spider on your desk or something?
Bug in my room. Yeah, I should crush it down.
That was the reaction of a bug for sure. I can tell.
I just like flew up here and hit my screen. I was like, "Whoa, hey, get out of here, man!"
But no, I feel you. So Moreno gets the win. They bring in Davis and Figueiredo. Did you not just find this super awkward and cringe? And like Moreno was like, "Oh, I have some things I want to say, but it's my daughter. I want to." And then Figueiredo doesn't speak Spanish or English, so he's just standing there like trying to look cool, but like there's a very clearly a disconnect. And then they end up shaking hands, and everybody was kind of on Twitter was calling out Davis and Figueiredo for like a heel break, like he kind of broke character there.
Yeah, like hey, bro, you got to be a dick.
Yeah, right. He should have fucking smacked his hand away or looked him up and down, or I don't know. Especially if you don't speak the language. No, I do think that they're both competitors and sportsmen. At the end of the day, it's pretty tough to do, especially when you don't understand what was said. Like, I just thought it was a bad idea. Which Dana came out and said himself that, like, yeah, in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have done that. It was kind of a bad look. It
was like some shit you see in boxing.
Yeah, I didn't like it. No, I could have liked it if it was like executed better. If Moreno had something better to say, he was like stuttering and repeating himself and blaming the daughter and shaking the hand. Like it was.
If anyone wanted it was Figueiredo, and he was like, I'm not going to talk shit to him tonight because it's his night. He won. He put in all this work. Like he earned the right to be out here and like enjoy his night. He was like, he's just my next fight. Like Figueiredo kind of killed it. He was just overly respectful.
Yeah, overly respectful, which isn't the point of.
And also, can the motherfucker learn another language, please? Like, god damn it, man! Market your fucking learn how to make money.
Well, and it's like I know Spanish, and even if it was Spanish, like Spanish and Portuguese aren't that different. You know what I mean?
They're very similar.
Very similar. Like, yeah, I don't know, man.
Also, he's from Brazil. Guess what? Every country that touches Brazil speaks. It ain't Portuguese.
Yeah, no, that's one of the great like geographical kind of historical things that's just so crazy about that. Like the only country in the hemisphere that speaks that language.
Yeah, why isn't woke culture coming to cancel Portuguese in Brazil? They should speak something different there.
But the first canceled language. But yeah, man. I mean, so Brandon Moreno, he gets the win. He's taking on Figueiredo next. That'll be real interesting money line because I didn't think Moreno should have been a minus 200 favorite in this fight. I thought that was way too big. No, granted,
yeah, me too.
The finish, but the scorecards kind of allude to what I'm saying there. So you've already said your team Figueiredo, but that's more of like a personality thing. Or is that an X's and O's thing? Like you think Figueiredo's going to starch him?
Maybe. I don't know, man. Moreno, like he seemed like he was getting too like cocky with his fighting style in the octagon, and that's what was leading him to eat those massive shots when they did land.
You're right, and I think it's some of those shots. But I don't know. There's something about those guys when they get together. Like Figueiredo can't really get him out of there usually, and
he's so goddamn tough. Like he can eat a shot, but it's like, why do you want to bait your opponent into throwing at you whenever like he doesn't counter strike that well either? That's kind of my problem with it. Is like he's a really good forward striker and using his like offensive striking, but not a great counter striker. So why would he like drop a hand and like lean out and do like? I know he's trying to do weird shit to throw off his opponent's striking, but like kind of how you get clipped.
Well, it's just like I'm so interested in who this money line is going to be. Like I'm trying to handicap this, and it's like there's so many things to consider. Like Figueiredo coming off an injury, hasn't fought in a calendar year. Moreno, was minus 200 in the interim title, gets a third round finish, but he took a lot of damage. Like, I don't even know what to like do with that information. Like, I'll probably just bet the value there. I'll probably just bet the dog when it comes around.
Well, right now it's minus 110 both ways.
So
It's a dead even pick 'em. It's a dead even pick 'em.
Your boy's a fucking genius, is what you're trying to tell me. All right, that's good. but yeah, I mean, I'll see how the public bets and probably bet against it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think I'll just bet the dog in that one when it rolls around, unless something comes out. I do hate the inactivity in Figueiredo's coming off an injury, and everybody's saying that he looks really huge right now, so the weight cut's going to be brutal. It's always brutal, but it might be especially brutal. He's getting older. I think there's a lot of reasons to bet Moreno, but
the Hamzat Diaz odds are fucking brutal.
What's it at?
Fucking brutal. I mean, right now on Caesars, it's minus 1,100 for Hamzat.
Holy shit. I mean, that's about right, though. That's about how I view that fight.
That is fucking brutal.
That is brutal. I think he started off at like minus 700, too. So people were just eating the minus 700 and just like, fuck it.
So what do you think's next for Car France? Because we know what's next for Moreno.
So, I mean, you could do the Car France Pantoja fight. Like, I guess if you can get Pantoja to agree. Like I said, I don't know what's on that for Pantoja. Like, I guess you can't say nothing, but at the same time, also like kind of low or high risk, low reward if you're Pantoja. Now, I think if you're a Car France, that's the exact fight you want to. A, he hasn't lost to Pantoja. B, with the win over Pantoja, he's right back there. He's probably the number one contender again. Probably gets another title shot, especially if it's against Figueiredo, who he hasn't fought yet. So I think there's all the reasons in the world for Car France to want the Pantoja fight. Like I said, I don't think that there's that much in that for Pantoja. Like, that pot's not that sweet for Pantoja.
When you can't get him to fight Askarov because he literally just beat Askarov to get there. So
has he fought Perez? Could you do the losers against each other? I mean, I don't want to see that, but I'm just from.
What do you think about Brandon? What do you think about Brandon Royval and Car France?
You could. I think Royval might be booked, or maybe I'm tripping. I always mix him and Perez up.
No, I just looked. He's not.
He's not? Okay. I mean,
and he has, and Car France has a submission loss to Royval in 2020.
That's right. That's right.
And for Royval, it kind of gets him into that title picture. I think that might be the fight.
Yeah, you could. Or Raw Dog. He could Raw Dog some Car France. I mean, I definitely like Car France. And like I still think Car France is a guy. Car France is one of the youngest of all the guys that we just listed. I'm pretty sure he's the youngest. I'm not out that Car France can still be champ one day. No.
No, not at all. I just think he needs to obviously has to fight backwards a little bit now and get back into that title hunt.
But I'm talking like 3 years from now. Like, Figueiredo's not making 25 for 3 more years. Moreno, I mean, we'll see what's happening.
His fight miles worry me. If anything, Moreno's fight miles worry me because like his chin's gonna get cracked.
He's the Spanish broadcaster, I believe. So we were talking about it earlier with Felder and the Cruz and these guys that like kind of on the way out. I mean, he's made some serious money and he's a big deal in Mexico. I don't know if Moreno's still fighting in 3 years. I mean, in 3 years, Car France is going to be what, 30, 31? I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it could be, I mean, we'll see how the Pantoja situation goes. I mean, I think Askarov's a little bit older. I mean, Perez, like all these guys are older than Car France. Like he could just potentially outlast them. Now, I know there's always going to be young lions and maybe got other guys trying to drop down from Bantam, but I'm not out on Car France. Like, he looked great. Like, he was winning on some judges' scorecards. I mean, he caught a liver shot. You know what I'm saying? What can you do? I mean,
that's how I feel too. Is like I mean, liver shot, man. Like, I know it's a body TKO finish, but like, man, people can't stand up to liver shots usually. So it's like, all right, well, he's just gonna have to learn to block that a little better next time.
Yeah, like I don't think I lost any steam on Car France, to be honest. I mean, if anything, I lost steam on Moreno. They're like, oh, he won with the finish. How did you lose steam on him? Like, if you really dive into it and you really kind of juxtapose it with other guys in the division and the trending upwards, and you know what I'm saying? Like hell, I'm not sure Pantoja doesn't run through Moreno. That fight's not going to get made. But Pantoja's beat him once, and he looked fucking a whole lot better than Moreno looked. You know what I'm saying? Do you mind looking up how old Pantoja is?
Yeah. I believe he is. Oh, fuck, I ready. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, don't be like this. There it is. He is 32.
32. So, yeah, in 3 years, Pantoja's going to be 35. I think Carl Frank's like 27, 28. He's like our age. Yeah, I don't know. I think he can outlast those guys and be champ one day. But you want to keep it pushing this main event?
Yeah. Carl France is 29. He turned 29 this March.
Okay.
So he's born 93.
Point still holds. Point still holds. Though.
Oh,
He'll be 32.
Yeah.
He'll be, you know.
That's prime. Fun. That's prime time.
For sure, man. Now, this main event, Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena, 2, rematch of the greatest upset in UFC history. Or you could argue Matt Serra if you want. I'm not going to be mad at you. But right up there, right? Top 3, UFC upset of all time. Definitely the greatest women's upset of all time, I believe.
For sure.
And so now the question is, the whole reason this fight got booked, like, was that a fluke? Was it lucky? Was it a bad night for Nunes? Was it, was the moon aligned with Jupiter? And we both said no. We both said no, it wasn't a fluke. Nunes has moved on her mental focus. She's not as hungry. Pena's hungrier, still has more to prove. We both, we both bet Pena. We both picked Pena. And it was almost similar to the Derek Lewis kind of psychology style pick. We were questioning Nunes, how much she wanted to be there, how hungry she was, how much more, was there to even accomplish still? You know what I mean? Like sleeping on silk sheets, all those things as fighters get older and more successful. And, did she take her eye off the ball a little bit?
Well, so that's what I thought would be the case. And like her being pictured with her 45-pound belt all the time this week was like super cringy to me. Because, hey, what belt are you fighting for, huh? It's not the one on your shoulder.
Well, see, I don't hate that. I like the champ shit. I'll fall for the gimmick. Fuck it. But what I did like in the press conference, Pena was like, who are you even going to fight at 45? Like, she was like calling out like the kind of the fake division, and she wasn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Wrong.
Like why is she repping the belt of a division that has 6 fighters? Like, so cool.
She looked at like every reporter was like, you name 3 featherweight women's fighters right now. And I was like, and then I started trying to do it, and I was like, I got to like Pasquale, and like nowhere near good enough to fight for a title. There's like Pasquale, Nunes. I think Megan Anderson retired. Like I don't know if I can name you 3 women's featherweights. Like no, not even trolling, not trying to be funny, not running material. Like I couldn't. Like when Pena was I watched the press conference and I was like in my head trying to go through the Rolodex. I couldn't name Aspen Ladder. She dropped back down to 35.
You don't know what's so hilarious, bro? Like the UFC's website is so fucking disrespectful for this. In Juliana Pena's picture as champion, she doesn't have a belt on her shoulder, and in Nunes's picture as champion for the featherweight division, she has both the belts on her.
Oh wow.
And that's not updated. Like they've just left it like that since she lost. So it's like that's so disrespectful to never get Pena the picture with the belt on your website.
But do they have like other featherweights listed on the website?
No. I'm sorry. That's what I was going to do. There's no other featherweights listed on the on the rankings.
So it's like it's really.
I guess like Macy Chiasson will sometimes go up to 45 and take fights.
Yeah, she will.
Or I've seen Lena Landsberg go up there once.
Yeah.
But like,
and like Jocelyn Edwards sometimes does.
I fucking hate Jocelyn Edwards.
No, I know, and like none of these fighters. I think Chiasson has a fight booked, and maybe if she wins that one, maybe just because as Chill would say, she can fog a mirror. But seriously, like you got to just find somebody who can fog a mirror and who weighs 145 pounds and is willing to go out and fight for a check. Because there's no contenders, there's no names, there's no stars, there's no. That's why I was so shocked that on this season of Ultimate Fighter they did women's flyweight. I thought that was the perfect opportunity to build that division.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure.
Women's featherweights in there. I guess Dana might still be trying to hold out for a Kayla Harrison fight one of these days, but it is a fake division. Like I don't like saying that, and I wish it wasn't true. But I really like. There's no argument to like prove that it is like a valid.
Even more sad though, it's not like there's not like the fucking PFL has a 155 women's division where they fill it out with women. You know what I'm saying? And like not talentless women by any means. So like,
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why it's like the UFC just doesn't give a fuck about the division.
Well, and also I'm going to not call out, but bring to light. I think some of the blame has to go on some of these 35ers too, because like, there's how many 35ers kind of probably have a gnarly weight cut to get to 35, and then they're never going to fight for a belt at 35. I mean, if I was like a number 9 ranked bantamweight that had to cut like 10 pounds to make bantamweight, I mean, why wouldn't you just kind of cut the line, maybe win one fight at featherweight or miss weight, and just call out Nunes? And like, I mean, I think a lot of these 35-pounders are fumbling the bag of getting a title shot.
That's okay. So that's the way I look at it. Is like, why not just take the easiest path to getting your name under the big lights?
Like, and especially if the champ's the same person, it's not like, oh, well, I can beat this champ, but not. It's the same person. So like, I don't understand why. The logic. I also want to hate the idea, and we'll get to it, of Pena fighting Nunes at 45 in a trilogy. So that
would
way
be fun.
It's different.
That would be fun.
There's something else on it, right? Whether it's for double champ status or just to try something new,
Well, and these girls are like the same size measurables, or their measurables are like the same. So it's like, well, if Nunes can go up to 45, Pena easily could too. She's, in fact, one of the girls we're actually talking about here in the situation of like, hey, you crazy motherfucker, like, just don't cut as much weight and go fight for the belt every other weekend.
Yeah, or like I said, if I was one of these girls, like whatever girl's coming in second place to Kayla Harrison, fucking, I wouldn't know why you wouldn't try to get in the UFC featherweight division. Like I said, I just see like a clear path to title shots. Now, I guess maybe the answer is none of them want to smoke with Amanda Nunes, and hey, maybe that's a smart decision. Like, but I'm just saying, like, if some, that's why I kind of call it, because like, if they were real competitors and they really wanted to fight for a belt, I mean, you win one fight at 45. I mean, you know what I mean? You're there. Like,
right? Yeah, I'm with you.
All right.
But let's dive into this fight.
Yeah.
So we have the number one contender, Amanda Nunes, weird to say, minus 255, fighting the champion, Juliana Pena, plus 215 in the women's bantamweight division. This fight, I guess we can say our scores round by round, but the breakdown's essentially going to be the same across all the rounds, right?
Well, because you're right. Because, the score.
So the way you score it might matter, but it doesn't, though, right? You know what I'm saying? Because it's a clean sweep for Nunes. She's actually going to take all 5 rounds here and do it with her wrestling and takedowns more than her striking. The strike numbers are almost identical in this fight, which very much surprised me because Nunes was just dropping bombs on Pena when she connected. Pena was hitting back hard, but, like, couldn't land anything real clean, and then also got taken down 6 times and controlled for 12 minutes out of a 25-minute fight.
Wow. Well, and so round 1 I did think was the closest round.
Oh, yeah, round 1 popped off. It reminded me so much of the first fight.
But it was also weird. So I didn't watch this whole fight over. I watched the first 3 rounds twice. I ran out of time before work. I was trying to rewatch it. But watching it live, I thought it was much closer than it really ended up being. When I went back and rewatched it, it was very clearly Nunes. I think just watching it live, I don't know if I was caught up in the hype. Obviously, I am biased. I bet on Pena. And Miji, I was watching with Miji, and I said she knows her striking. She really liked the work Pena did towards the end of the round and was, like, really kind of, like, hyping that up. But rewatching it today, man, Nunes was putting the work on her in round 1. I mean,
it just felt like her shots, like they might have landed close to the same amount of shots, but Nunes was landing way harder. Way harder, which, once again, going back to their first fight, didn't alarm me in the first one when I was watching it because I was like, oh, well, this is what happened in the first one. Now Pena just has to catch her on like a little slide, get her to the point where Nunes doesn't want to be in there, and it'll be over. Like, she'll get her out of there. Now, to Nunes' credit, she kind of had that fire back. And the second round went way worse for Pena than I think any of the other rounds.
Also, man, we always talk about how strong, how badass, which are all very true. I think this may have been the smartest fight that Nunes has ever fought. Like, as far as, like, fight IQ, strategy, game plan. I mean, we've never really used those words. We've used dominant and, like beastly and, like, one-sided. Like we've had different adjectives to describe Nunes' performances, but we never really said like heady or executing a game plan.
She hasn't had to be or had to fight like that essentially in all these other fights because these other girls don't push her to that same limit, right? Whereas like Pena has all of these skills that match up so well that it's like Nunes actually had to come in with a real game plan and not just swing huge hammers at this girl and essentially is like, well, I can't wear myself out because like she's got a good chin, she throws good power, she's good off her back. Pena was very good off her back, I will say.
Yeah, very active off her back for sure. Now, I mean, the first 2 rounds for the most part took place on the feet, but it only because like when Nunes would drop Pena, she wouldn't follow her to the ground. She would let her back up. Which, how do you feel about that? I've heard very different opinions, and it usually comes down to your discipline. All the strikers will tell you that that's smart game plan, and that's exactly what you should do. And then all the wrestlers and jiu-jitsu people are like, "What are you doing? Get on top." How do you feel?
See, I think the level of damage she was inflicting on the feet and like the work she was putting in with the shots, striking, I don't see a 0.2 grapple. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
at least not at that point. Because like in round 2, man, I have it at 10-8. Like she is just tagging Payne to the floor like 3 or 4 different times in a round.
Yeah, you know what, bro? It's weird. So I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I don't have a single 10-8, which seeing the judges' scorecards, hearing you, rewatching it, like I said, maybe that changes. But I don't know, for whatever reason why. Maybe it's just because Pena would drop and like literally be like an up down. Like she would hit the mat and get like immediately back up. I mean, she was taking a lot of damage, but she was still walking forward. She was like, and I know that's probably not the way to score it, but just like, I mean, we're talking about body language in the Derek Lewis fight. Like, she did a great job, like, selling it that she was kind of unfazed by it, even though she was getting, like, absolutely worked. Like, the body language, the fighting spirit, if you will, as corny as that is, really what it is, the competitiveness, the dog in it. Like, she never really like made me feel like she like wanted to get out of there or was like getting beat up, even though she was. I don't know if that makes any sense.
While I love that, no, it's very casual because I got into Kenneth bad about that shit last night because he was saying Rafa Garcia won the 3rd round of the close Garcia fight, which Jakar Close outlanded him 25-8 in that round.
That was Close's best round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure it was. And so then Kenneth was like, but Garcia was moving forward, and I was like, okay, so what? What?
I'm not taking it as far as moving forward like that wins you the round, but I'm talking about keeping it at a 10-9. I guess what I'm also saying from a more like nose, like I thought Pena was doing enough and like landing your own shots and like I don't know. You're right. I mean, it was
getting dropped that many times in a round. I think
you're right. Like you're right. Like I'm not dying on the hill. Like I'm trying to like honestly, I'm trying to understand my own notes to be honest. Like, you're right, man. But like I said, I mean. Something Pena was doing was giving me the vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Well, I mean, to your defense, you know, one judge did agree with you, and his name's Jacob Montalvo. So.
The ultimate backhanded compliment. But look, let's keep it pushing because in round 3, this is whenever
that is my only 10-8 though. Okay, there is one more from one other judge, but I disagree with that 10-8. So.
Well, one judge, yeah, get 2 10-8s. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So round 3 is whenever Nunes did start falling into the mat, and I mean was just as effective there. Now you could argue she's a little more danger there. Maybe that's why she did it in the first round because Pena was very active guard, getting some like medium close subs. Like nothing was really that close, but I mean some
enough to defend herself with too, where she wasn't eating the most damage on the ground. Like, I thought Nunes was better off. Now, granted, the control and damage are almost interchangeable at the fact that she's getting like 4 minutes of control, right? So it's like, well, you don't even need to be doing that much damage to win this round now because you're controlling her so much.
The ground and pound elbows were causing some damage, too.
Oh, dude. Pena has to go get surgery for her forehead. Apparently, there's like an actual like piece out of her forehead, like where like they couldn't just sew it. Like they have to go like skin graft it.
Well, apparently, I think Akamoto posted a picture. It was like hanging in the cage, like dangling. Like, like in the fence, like there was like a piece of like flesh. I don't know if it was that piece, but you kind of put
probably it's probably got split and then dug out like an edge on it on the fence, which sounds terrible.
Yeah, man. But it was
to her credit, she never quit fighting back.
She never quit fighting back.
Like I have 10-9s the rest of the way, which shows you that. Well, if round 2 is the furthest round apart, credit to Pena.
Yeah, credit all the credit to Pena. Yeah, and I mean round 4 looks pretty similar to round 3. There That actually, I think round 4 was whenever Pena was really attempting the most subs and like was really active from her back. Which more power to her. Like we said, never quit fighting, never quit competing, never quit searching for a path to victory, even if that was changing. But I thought I respected her like trying something different. Like I hate when a fighter loses the same way Kevin Holland style for 5 rounds. You know what I mean?
Yes, agreed.
Like she tried different things. Now they weren't working. All the credit to Amanda Nunes, but I did respect the hell out of that. And then, yeah, round 5, more of the same. Nunes on top.
Kind of piecing her up with I was going to say, she started to do a lot more damage on the top position there, but I think that has to do with, it's 5th round. Like, well, if I gas out in the 5th round, cool, fight's over. So cool. Yeah, so I think Nunes was kind of just unleashing the gates of hell, essentially, on Pena. And once again, credit to Pena for surviving. One judge had a 10-8 here. I did not. So, judges' scorecards. 50-45, 50-44, and 50-43. Unanimous decision, Nunes. Very dominant. The 43, I think, is uncalled for. The 44 makes sense. Now, 45 is a guy that shouldn't ever be a ref in a fight. Well, he was judging this one, but he still shouldn't be a ref. I'm just going to Jacob Montalvo sucks.
Yeah. No, so now the real question is, because the whole reason this fight answer was to took place was, like I said at the start of this breakdown, was to answer the question: was the first fight a fluke?
Felt kind of fluky.
After that, after a 50-43, you know what I'm saying? Now you can debate the 50-43, but what I'm saying, like, dominant. Goose egged her, fucking, blanked her, fucking skunked her, past
it kind of. It's one of those things of like. I mean, I don't even really want to see him run it back, right? It's almost like how I felt about Masvidal Usman too. Like, wasn't that pumped for that because I already knew. Now, granted, that finish in that fight's insanely awesome.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things of like, well, I don't see where Masvidal can win this fight, and I kind of am at that place with Pena now, where I'm like, I don't really see how she wins it now that Nunes has figured it out.
No, I gotta say, the only reason I would want to watch this fight. And I guess, I don't know, it does. I don't know if this makes sense, but in my head it does. If they tried it at 45, just so there's something different, like there's something else on it for a different belt, for essentially the life of a division. I mean, maybe Pena not cutting the weight, maybe there's different X factors, because you're right. If they fight again at 35, I have no reason to believe that it doesn't look very similar. So maybe I'm grasping at straws here, throwing shit against the wall, seeing if it sticks. But if they fight again, I wouldn't mind for it to be at 45. I think is really the only way that makes sense.
I totally agree, man. I think if you're Pena, I think you take some time off here.
Oh, you're going to have to.
I mean, the surgery is going to, you're not really going to have a choice. But I also think, too, like, as far as who else gets to fight for the belt now while she's out, I mean, you have Ketlin Vieira at number 2, Holly Holm at 3, Aldana at 4, Raquel Pennington at 5. 135 is kind of lacking, man.
Yeah, well, 25 is the new division, right? The women's division. I mean, you got Fioro, you got Blanchfield, you got O'Neal, you got all the young lions, almost like men's 70. Women's 135 kind of reminds me of like men's light heavyweight, like the aging kind of top heavy,
Yeah, the young killers aren't really there yet either. Like, that's the problem with Bantamweight is they don't have the young killers. Like, they have like 10 girls, and I'm like, well, Aspen Ladd? No. Penny Kianzad? No. Sarah McMahon? Old as fuck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, you're right. There's nobody to really be excited about, right?
And Kunitskaya is young, but she literally is having Thiago Santos and their kid right now. Like, she's coming out of a pregnancy, so she's not going to fight for a while, I'm sure. Yeah. It's like literally the top 10 is like, it's pretty much Irene Aldana or Ketlin Vieira to fight next, I think. Because Holly Holmes just had too many goddamn shots.
Yeah, I mean, Vieira, she's the one that beat Tate, right? Like, pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she has a pretty good, like, resume, you could argue. And then a lot of people on Twitter, I was seeing that they were kind of championing Aldana. And it's like, I guess it is somebody different, like, but at the same time, it's not like I'm like personally super hyped. Like, am I going to watch? Yeah, but that doesn't really do much for me.
That's where I'm at. It's going to be hard to sell the 35 fight. Like, this was the UFC's like all-in moment to get money from the women's 135, because now it's just going to go back to the whole dominant, can't be touched champion narrative.
And then who of those girls has Pena fought? I know Pena's fought a lot of them. Because then,
That's a good question. Let's see. She's fought McMahon. She's fought. Oh fuck, dude! I forgot that Pena came up from 25 because when she was younger, she used to fight 25 fights.
That's right.
Forgot about that. So she hasn't really fought any of those girls for the most part, man. She has at 135, she beat Nico Montano. She, let's see, lost to Jermaine Durandamy, beat Sarah McMahon, beat Amanda Nunes, and then has now lost. Like, honestly, Pena, man.
Pena versus those other girls in like a number one contenders match is a pretty dope fight. For some reason, that's more interesting to me than Nunes. Like, imagine the money line against Nunes and some of these other girls. I mean, it's going to be nuts.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, man. Is like, I don't know where we go with Pena. Like, with Nunes from here, right? Like, obviously she's a champion. She just has to keep running through girls, but like, Pena has interesting fights against all those girls, and I think she can beat all those girls and still might hold like the distinction of being the next best person in the weight class,
like the Colby Covington status.
Yeah, but at that same time, she doesn't even put on a good fight against the champion like that. You know what I mean? Like, at least Covington is right there neck and neck.
You're right, man.
There's a big gap in 135 from the top and everyone else.
No, you're right, man, and we'll see how that all shakes out. Hopefully, some young lioness out there, you know, weighs 135 pounds, is lurking in the weeds, fighting on LFA promotions or something. Because, I mean, right? Because I mean, if not,
I like the pun you use there, some lioness. Because Amanda.
Because I mean, that's our only hope, right? Is that like the female Rachmanov is out there, just like, you know, and in 3 years she's right there at the top. Like,
is it not weird to you that we don't see more Russian and European women that fight, at least at the bigger weights?
Because the Muslims don't let the women do the sports.
Fuck!
It's the elephant in the room. Like
I did not think about that.
They don't let them drive or leave the house.
Oh, yeah, you can't have a woman from Dagestan be champion because they don't get to do that.
And wearing those stuff, like...
Oh, yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah. It's the elephant in the room that nobody talks about. Eagle FC doesn't have women on the card.
Doesn't have ring girls either.
Yeah. So, like...
Khabib hates ring girls. He's like, that's number one bullshit. He's like, we're here for fight, not entertainment. And it's like, well...
Oh, also, speaking of smaller promotions, real quick, and then we'll wrap this bad boy up. Hamdi fought 2 fights in bare knuckle and game bread.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. That's fucking wild.
He rematched a guy that he like smoked too. That's why I was like, I didn't want to put any money near Hamdi because I was like, well, you rematched a guy that you smoked. Like, are you just like trying to stack your record out like a boxer? Like, that's kind of fucked.
Fucking and old Game Bread had a fucking card to fill. You know what I mean?
So Game Bread fights are bare knuckle, and then Icon is mixed martial arts.
Yeah, I think he has 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he has 2 separate ones.
Here, let's see, because I didn't realize that distinction. I thought he just changed the name. Damn, yeah. So he has 2 bare knuckle fights and 2 Icon fights.
Wow.
Oh wait, no, he has 3 bare knuckle fights and 2 Icon fights.
Also, all of his fights were for Masvidal. That's kind of cool.
Oh, and now I see why he rematched the guy. Matt Strickland, he knocked him out in 15 seconds, his first career pro fight in bare knuckle, and then fought him again this last June and KO'd him in 27 seconds, but with gloves on.
Oh, my God. Well, come on now. What do we do? Who's sanctioning these? Because they be fighting in like weird states like Mississippi and shit. Like these fucking ragtag commissions.
Oh, my God.
That fight was not in Vegas.
He also has a knockout of a guy named Conor McKenna. All of his fights are from October 1st, 2021 and up. So he hasn't even been fighting a year professionally. He has 6 fights. I like that. 5 KOs.
Wow.
We just saw his only decision.
Wow.
But Conor McKenna, that was his second fight. Knocked him out in 33 seconds, bare knuckle. Then fought Dustin Clements, who that was his first gloved matchup.
So was Saturday night his first time going the distance?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, the
Good
cardio was
cardio.
there. Yeah.
I mean, Olympic wrestler, I imagine his cardio should be there, but you never know. Different sport, obviously, right?
Also fat as fuck.
So true. Dustin Clements, I guess, had a fractured orbital, so that fight got stopped in the third round, 3 minutes. So almost went all 3 rounds in that fight.
12 and a half.
Then goes back to bare knuckle, gets another 26-second knockout in the first round. Dude, he just finishes guys in 30 seconds or less, or almost goes the distance, apparently.
Wow. Wow, that's interesting. What an interesting prospect, man. But hey, man, that wraps up episode 98 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. Please like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Beefy Boys Breakdown. We really appreciate it. And, yeah, man, appreciate your time. Thanks for staying up late, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I will catch you soon. If you want to do some scumbag bets this week, just hit me up. I'm off every night this week, but work all the days.
Also, last Beefy Boys episode in this apartment. We move into a new spot tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Let's go.
Yeah, so let's go, man. But all right, brother, man, appreciate you, man. Have a good night. Thanks for everybody that watched. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Thanks so much, everybody.